Close your eyes for a moment and imagine you're standing at the edge of a boundless, shimmering ocean. This isn't just water, it's the quantum field, a vibrant sea of infinite possibilities pulsing with potential. Every dream you've ever had, love, success, freedom, joy exists here, not as distant fantasies, but as waves waiting to take shape. Now, here's the mind-bending truth. This ocean doesn't decide what becomes real. You do. The moment you cast your gaze, your focus, your emotions onto it, something miraculous happens. Your attention sculpts those waves into reality. This isn't magic or wishful thinking. It's quantum physics, and it's about to rewrite the story of your life. Today, I'm sharing a journey that turned my world upside down, a story about how the way you observe your life doesn't just reflect your reality, it creates it. So, grab a coffee, settle in, and let's explore the power of your gaze together. Let's travel back to a laboratory where a simple experiment changed everything we thought we knew about reality. It's called the double-slit experiment, and it's the cornerstone of quantum physics. Picture this: scientists fired tiny electrons through two narrow slits, expecting them to behave like particles, leaving a predictable pattern on a screen. But when no one was watching, something bizarre happened. The electrons didn't act like particles at all. They spread out like waves, existing in multiple states at once, as if they were dancing across every possibility. It was pure, untamed potential. Then, the scientists did something so simple, yet so profound. They observed the experiment. They watched. And in that moment, the electrons stopped their wild dance. They collapsed into particles, forming a clear, solid pattern. The act of observation changed the outcome. It wasn't the equipment, the slits, or some cosmic trick. It was the act of attention. The observer created the reality. When I first heard this, I felt like the ground shifted beneath me. If observation could transform the behavior of electrons, what could it do for my life? For yours? What if we're not just passive characters in a fixed script, but active creators, directing the stage of our reality with every thought, every feeling, every glance? Let me tell you about Sarah, a friend who was caught in a cycle she couldn't break. Every morning, Sarah would wake up, check her bank account, and feel a familiar knot in her stomach. "I'm broke," she'd mutter, staring at overdue bills. At work, she'd replay arguments with her boss, feeling small and undervalued. By night, she'd collapse on the couch, scrolling through social media, comparing herself to friends who seemed to have it all. Sarah wasn't just living her life, she was observing it through a lens of lack, frustration, and fear. And the more she focused on what was wrong, the more those things grew, like weeds choking out her joy. Does this sound familiar? Most of us do this without even realizing it. We wake up and replay the same thoughts, the same emotional loops, the same stories about what's not working. We observe what is so intensely that we lock it into place. Quantum physics explains why your attention is like a spotlight, and wherever you shine it, you give energy. That energy tells the quantum field. More of this, please. Sarah wasn't choosing to stay stuck, but her focus was keeping her there, collapsing the same reality day after day. I've been there too. I used to obsess over every mistake I made, every opportunity I missed. I'd lie awake at night, replaying conversations, convincing myself I'd never get ahead. The more I focused on my failures, the more they defined my life. It wasn't until I learned about the observer effect that I realized I wasn't just seeing my reality, I was shaping it. But what if you could break that cycle? What if, instead of staring at what's broken, you turned your gaze toward what's possible? Let me share the story of Jake, a guy who transformed his life by changing what he observed. Jake was a struggling musician, playing gigs in half-empty dive bars, barely making rent. He used to fixate on every rejection, every empty seat, every no from a record label. His life felt like a treadmill, lots of effort. No progress. Then, Jake stumbled across the observer effect in a podcast. It hit him like a lightning bolt. He decided to try something radical. Instead of focusing on his empty bank account or the gigs that didn't pan out, Jake started visualizing sold-out shows. Every morning, he'd close his eyes and feel the energy of a roaring crowd. He'd hear their cheers, see himself on stage, confident and alive. He wasn't pretending it was intentional observation. He was emotionally engaging with a future that didn't exist yet. Over time, Jake noticed shifts. He started booking better gigs. A small bar turned into a local club, then a festival. A manager reached out after hearing him play. Today, Jake's not a rock star, but he's living a life he once only dreamed of. Why? Because he stopped observing lack and started observing possibility. His focus became his power. This is quantum manifestation. It's not about forcing change from the outside in, like hustling harder or begging the universe for a break. It's about shifting what you choose to see on the inside. As Dr. Joe Dispenza says, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. Your focus isn't just a thought, it's a frequency, a signal to the universe about what to make real. Think of the quantum field as a cosmic mirror. It doesn't care about your words, your wishes, or your to-do lists. It reflects your frequency, your emotions, your focus, your state of being. If you're vibrating fear, doubt, or scarcity, the field mirrors that back with more of the same. If you're radiating trust, gratitude, or vision, it delivers that instead. I used to think I could think positive my way to a better life. I'd repeat affirmations like I'm successful while feeling like a fraud inside. It didn't work because the field wasn't hearing my words, it was feeling my doubt. Real change happened when I learned about emotional coherence, aligning my thoughts with my feelings. Take my journey to better health. I wanted to feel strong and vibrant, but I kept observing myself as out of shape. I'd look in the mirror and feel defeated before I even started. The field wasn't hearing my gym plans, it was feeling my frustration. So, I changed my approach. I started feeling strong before I even laced up my sneakers. I'd visualize myself moving with energy, lifting weights with ease, feeling alive. I wasn't ignoring reality, I was observing a new one. Slowly, I started craving workouts. I made better food choices. My body changed because my frequency did. The field responded to what I was being, not just what I was saying. Here's the truth that changed everything for me. You're not a passenger in your life. You're the director. The quantum field isn't fixed. It's fluid, responsive, waiting for your cue. But most of us act like the script is already written. We look at our circumstances, our job, our relationships, our bank account, and think, this is just how it is. But reality isn't solid. It's a reflection of what you consistently observe. Pause for a second. Where's your attention right now? Are you shining your spotlight on what's missing? Or are you illuminating what's possible? The field doesn't judge. It doesn't care about your past, your doubts, or your to-do list. It's neutral, like a blank canvas, waiting for your brush, and your brush is your focus. dipped in the paint of your emotions. Let me share a quick story about my own shift. I used to feel trapped in a job I hated. Every day, I'd wake up dreading the commute, the meetings, the monotony. I'd tell myself, this is just reality. But then I started experimenting. I began observing a life where I felt purposeful, where my work lit me up. I'd spend a few minutes each morning feeling the joy of doing something meaningful, even though I had no clue how to get there. That shift in focus led me to take small steps, a course here, a conversation there. Eventually, I found a path that aligned with my passion. The field didn't change my job overnight, but it responded to my new frequency with opportunities I couldn't have planned. This is where things get wild. Your consciousness isn't just in your brain. It's the invisible force that shapes reality. Thinkers like Dr. Joe Dispenza and Amit Goswami have spent decades bridging quantum physics and spiritual wisdom, showing us that consciousness comes first and matter follows. Goswami puts it bluntly, consciousness creates reality, not the other way around. Let's make this real with another story. Meet Lisa, a single mom who felt trapped in a dead-end job. She was exhausted, working long hours for barely enough to cover rent. She believed she couldn't leave because she needed the money. Her reality felt like a cage. But after watching a documentary about the observer effect, Lisa decided to try something new. She started small, spending 5 minutes a day observing herself as capable, resourceful, and free. She'd close her eyes and feel the joy of a fulfilling career. Even though she had no idea how to make it happen, she wasn't delusional, she was intentional. Over months, Lisa's confidence grew. She started networking, not out of desperation, but curiosity. One connection led to a freelance gig, then a job offer in a field she loved, event planning, something she'd always been passionate about. Lisa didn't force her way out of her old life. She observed her way into a new one. Her consciousness sculpted the field, and the field delivered. This isn't just personal. Your consciousness is non-local, meaning it can influence reality beyond space and time. You don't need to be in the right place or have the right resources. You need presence. You need alignment. When your thoughts and emotions merge, you create a blueprint that the field can't ignore. Deep within you lies a power greater than any action you could take. It's the silent observer, the calm, centered part of you that sees without reacting, feels without panicking, creates without forcing. This is the frequency where miracles happen. I learned this the hard way during a period of crippling anxiety. I used to fight my worries, analyzing every thought, trying to fix my mind. But the more I focused on my fears, the louder they got. The field wasn't hearing my efforts, it was mirroring my panic. Then I discovered the silent observer. Instead of battling my thoughts, I watched them like clouds passing in the sky. I breathed deeper. I focused on peace, even when I didn't feel it. Slowly, my nervous system calmed. My reality softened. The field responded to my stillness, not my struggle. The silent observer doesn't chase outcomes. It holds space for them. It trusts that the wave of possibility will collapse into form when you observe with clarity and coherence. This isn't passive. It's the most disciplined practice you can master. It's about witnessing your life without believing the illusion that what you see is final. It's about staying anchored in faith, even when there's no evidence yet. So, how do you become the observer of a new reality? It starts with presence. Here's a practice I use daily, and I invite you to try it. 1. Pause and breathe. Take a moment to slow down, feel your body, ground yourself in the now. This calms your nervous system and opens the door to conscious creation. 2. Notice your focus. Ask, what am I observing right now? Lack or possibility? Fear or faith? Be honest, not judgmental. Awareness is the first step. 3. Choose a new vision. Picture your future self, the one who's already living your dream life. See them clearly. What do they believe? How do they move? What's their energy like? 4. Embody the feeling. Don't just think about it, feel it. Let the emotion of your vision flood your body. Joy, peace, confidence, this is the frequency that talks to the field. 5. Repeat with devotion. You don't need perfection. You need consistency. Return to this practice daily, even for a few minutes. Over time, it becomes your new baseline. When I started this, I was skeptical. I'd sit there visualizing a life of purpose, feeling like I was just daydreaming. But I kept at it. I'd imagine speaking to an audience, feeling confident and connected. And I'd let gratitude wash over me. Over time, opportunities started showing up, a chance to start a YouTube channel, a speaking gig, connections with like-minded people. I wasn't chasing. I was collapsing a new reality by observing it first. Here's the flip side, and it's worth facing. If you keep observing the same old story, you'll keep getting the same old results. The quantum field doesn't argue, it reflects. If you focus on what's not working, you're not just describing your life, you're reinforcing it. Your thoughts don't just comment on reality, they activate it. I remember a time when I was stuck in a cycle of self-doubt. I'd wake up every day thinking, I'm not good enough. I'd look for evidence, every mistake, every rejection, and sure enough, I found it. The field wasn't punishing me. It was mirroring my focus. The moment I started observing myself as capable, worthy, and enough, the world shifted, not overnight, but steadily. New doors opened because I stopped staring at the closed ones. Think about your own life. What are you observing most of the time? Are you replaying what went wrong? Or are you tuning into what could go right? The field is always listening, and it's giving you exactly what you feed it with your attention. This is the secret few people practice with discipline. You don't have to wait for reality to change. You change what you observe, and reality follows. It's not about faking it or ignoring your circumstances. It's about choosing to see what's possible as if it's already here. Think of it like tuning a radio. Your current reality is one station, but there are infinite others. When you shift your focus, your emotional frequency, you tune into a new station. You don't need to eliminate every negative thought. You just need to be more devoted to your desired vision than your familiar fears. The field responds to consistency, not perfection. Let me give you another example. My friend Mark wanted to find love, but he kept observing himself as unlovable. He'd go on dates, but his focus was on rejection, on what could go wrong. No surprise, he kept attracting the same outcomes. When he learned about the observer effect, he started observing himself as worthy of love. He'd visualize a partner who saw him, valued him, laughed with him. He'd feel the warmth of that connection before it existed. Over time, his energy shifted. He met someone who matched that frequency, not because he forced it, but because he observed it into being. So, here's your invitation. Right now, pause. Close your eyes if you can. Picture the life you want, not as a distant dream, but as your reality. See yourself in it. Feel the joy, the freedom, the love. Let that emotion anchor you. This isn't wishful thinking, it's quantum creation. You're telling the field, this is what I choose to observe. And when doubt creeps in, when the world feels heavy, return to the silent observer. Watch without judgment. Choose without force. Trust that the field is listening, not to your conditions, but to your frequency. If this resonates, type in the comments, "I am choosing what to see." Let those words be a signal to the universe that you're stepping into your power as a creator, not a reactor. Writing it down anchors your intention, like planting a seed in the field. As we go deeper, let this sink in. The quantum field isn't emotional. It's not judging you, testing you, or withholding anything. It's neutral, like a mirror, reflecting your frequency with precision. This is why life can feel confusing sometimes. You might be visualizing abundance, but vibrating scarcity. You might be affirming love, but resonating with fear of rejection. The field doesn't debate it, delivers what you're being, not what you're saying. This realization was a game changer for me. I used to think the universe was against me when things didn't work out. But it's not personal, it's vibrational. When I started taking responsibility for my frequency, everything shifted. I stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and started asking, "What am I vibrating that's calling this in, not from guilt, but from power?" Take money, for example. I used to stress about every dollar, observing lack in every transaction. No wonder I stayed broke. When I began observing abundance, feeling grateful for what I had, imagining financial freedom with excitement, the field responded. Unexpected checks showed up. A side hustle grew. It wasn't magic, it was alignment. Here's the radical shift: manifestation isn't about controlling outcomes. It's about curating your inner state. Your emotional baseline, the frequency you hold when no one's watching, sets the tone for your reality. Start by noticing your habitual thoughts, not judging them, just observing. What do you focus on when you're driving, showering, or falling asleep? Is it worry, comparison, or possibility? Your baseline broadcasts a signal to the field, and it's always listening. For me, this meant rethinking my mornings. I used to wake up and immediately check my phone, diving into stress before my feet hit the floor. Now, I start with a 5-minute practice. I breathe. I visualize my highest self. I feel the emotions of that life. It's not perfect, but it's consistent. And that consistency has brought opportunities I couldn't have forced: collaborations, friendships, a sense of purpose. Let's go deeper into the silent observer. This is the part of you that's unshaken by circumstances, unmoved by doubt. It's the frequency where creation flows effortlessly. When I was building this YouTube channel, I faced moments of fear. What if no one watches? What if I fail? My ego wanted to obsess over views, comments, metrics. But the silent observer knew better. I'd sit quietly, visualize people connecting with my message, feel the impact of helping others. I'd let go of needing proof. Slowly, the channel grew, not because I hustled harder, but because I observed with faith. The silent observer doesn't argue with reality. It knows that nothing is set until you observe it with your soul. It's not about denying challenges, it's about refusing to let them define your focus. When you observe from this place, the things you used to chase start moving toward you. Not because you did more, but because you became more aligned, more present, more coherent. Let's bring this home. The universe isn't testing you. It's responding to you. It's not checking your worthiness or your past. It's reading your frequency and mirroring it faithfully. This is why acting as if isn't pretending it's aligning. It's observing your future self as if they're already here. Imagine two timelines. One where you're looping old emotions, proving your limitations, tracking what hasn't worked. Another where you're free, joyful, abundant, loved. Both exist in the quantum field. But only one becomes real, the one you observe with depth and devotion. I invite you to try this today. Pick one area of your life, maybe your career, your relationships, your health. Observe it differently. If you want love, feel lovable now. If you want success, feel successful now. Not as a wish, but as a frequency. Hold that vision with emotion and watch how the field responds. As we wrap up, let this truth settle in your bones. You're not separate from the quantum field. You are the field, remembering itself through your consciousness. Every time you observe with love, clarity, and intention, you collapse possibility into reality. You don't need to earn your dream life, you need to match it. The job, the love, the health, the peace, they're not out there. They're waves in the field, waiting for your gaze to bring them to life. So, stop waiting for permission. Stop begging for change. Start radiating the frequency of who you already are. The universe isn't withholding anything, it's responding to your signal. This is your moment. Observe boldly, love fiercely, create consciously, because the world isn't just unfolding for you, it's emerging through you. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this story sparked something in you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more content on unlocking your potential. In the comments, type, I am choosing what to see. Let's make it a movement, a community of conscious creators observing the highest version of ourselves. Together, I'll see you in the next video.